Hello, my name is Alan Spink. I'm an HIV peer mentor at Sussex Beacon and I'm a patient representative for the Martin Fisher Foundation. I'm also 16 years HIV positive and I've lost one boyfriend and 72 friends to the disease, so I have a little bit of reason to speak. It's my privilege tonight to introduce two of the films that we've made to combat HIV stigma. They're a sample of what we're doing, there's plenty more. I've only got 10 minutes for this, I need 4 hours, but I'll try and speak quickly. However, firstly, and slightly controversially, I'm going to read a statement from Juno Roche, who's a trans activist and writer. I'm going to read a statement as it's written without prejudice. If you please bear with me, and what I say afterwards might make it a little bit more clearer. So, this is from Juno. Firstly, thank you to Alan for allowing me to occupy his space. It means a lot that you contacted me and said that you wanted to do this. I will keep this fairly short. Women and trans folk have become your footnotes, your add-ons, your slap me on the back and tell me you're my ally. We have become the words that make you feel you are being inclusive. We are still just words to you. Women and trans folk are invisible, misrepresented or represented by someone plucking figures out of the air, any figures. I spoke out online about the lack of women and trans folk living with HIV speaking at this event, not because I wake up angry, not because I enjoy that feeling of being the one to speak out, feeling isolated, not because I set to find fault in anything you do, but because you simply left us off and didn't see it as at all problematic that every community voice was a male, on the whole white male. I wonder sometimes if it isn't a problem to most people, maybe it's just me. Certainly most of you were silent. Maybe you do think that the male voice, especially the white male voice, is so vital to this debate that it must rule the airwaves. We see that all around us. If you were a being from Mars looking down at the coverage from our World AIDS Day events, you would think, white middle-aged man thing, no worries here for my Martian ass. My feminism is rooted in the simple fact that unless we are present and talking, then we are forgotten. That's not an overreaction. Globally, the funding put into solving the stain that is the colossal trans women of colour infection rate is minuscule compared to the money given out to other sectors. Literally, the last time I looked, less than 5%. The most in need get the less money and the less stage time. My feminism, by the way, sits right next to my fight for trans equality. The two are inseparable because I am a trans woman. This past year, we, the women we, have really focused on trying to bring the stories of women living with HIV to the fore. Since the 80s, only one book has been published about women living with HIV. We are invisible, structurally and financially, but through the Invisible No Longer study, we began to give voice to women, to listen to their stories of utter isolation and shame. Yet we are absent, and sadly, no shamefully, no woman living with HIV is leading a single event this year. And I don't just mean a woman sharing her pain for your wine-fueled consumption. Fuck that. No, I mean a woman leading the event. I give my own virtual finger up to that. This year, so many of you claim to be trans allies. So many tweet and meme and like and retweet, yet not a single trans person living with HIV is speaking at a single event. Not even a trans person living without HIV. Fuck that. You are not being allies. You are simply saying the stuff you need to say because it seems to have social media traction and gets you likes. A plea. Either fix up and think about structures and employment and creating systemic differences, or leave my timeline because you are simply a distraction claiming to be an ally. Put simply, you waste our time because we start to believe in you, we start to trust you. The exclusion of women and trans folk from this event wasn't a mistake, it is simply a continuation of every sexist and misogynistic pattern that runs through and rules this world of ours. Happy World AIDS Day, Juno Roche. Back to me. So she's angry, and I have to say, and I'm sorry for reading this, but I only wrote it today. She's angry, and I have to say I have a deal of empathy for her, as I rarely encounter trans people living with HIV at events or anywhere. And they should be here. They are already a marginalised community, under threat. I'll get to that. They're already a marginalised community under threat from so many quarters in these very strange times that we live in. Throw HIV into that mix, and frankly, we should be doing everything we can to get them to engage and receive the platform they need. So I see this statement from Juno, I see this as a bridge. I want to engage with Juno, and I will engage with her and anyone else from the HIV trans community, and I will do what I can to make our campaign represent them as well. Lloyd Russell Moyle has taken a stand in Parliament on our behalf, and whilst it's tempting to applaud and say, well done Lloyd, that's not enough. The haters have already started, and now they have a new target, HIV and those of us that live with HIV. I'll give you an example. Online, within hours of his statement in the Commons, quote, "We are living in strange times where politicians can be congratulated and cheered for having AIDS. Surely World AIDS Day was for awareness, not patting other STD carriers on the back." The person that said that has thousands of followers, and that's a mild one. We need to group together, we need to include all sections of our global community living with HIV, whatever colour, whatever sexuality or gender. We must be more united, and we must get our message clear and consistent. We don't have a huge voice in followers, but the haters do. They have hundreds of thousands of followers and a president in the White House with 50 million followers. HIV is in the news now, big time. Let's push, let's get the U equals U and can't pass it on messages out there and understood. On that, it really should be U equals U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable equals us. Yes, us. Those of us living with HIV. Please, all clinics, be sure that all of your patients with a viral load of under 200, not 40, not 20, under 200, know that they can't pass the virus on. And more importantly, tell them that they haven't been able to pass the virus on since they became undetectable. And in my case, 15 years. To the people that doubt us taking our meds, I'm afraid I'm talking about gay men again here, who, how do I know? How do I know that you're ready? How do I know you're taking medication? We don't take our meds for you, we take them for us. We take them so our health isn't compromised, so that we don't get sick. And of course, so that we don't pass the virus on to you. Because after the fear of dying, our biggest fear, those of us who live with HIV, our biggest fear has always been of passing the virus on to somebody else. It petrifies us. So, people need to stop stigmatising us because stigma hurts and it wrecks lives. It's important for me to just say now that these films that you're about to see, they're not aimed at this audience. They're actually aimed at people who have no current knowledge of HIV and no connection to people living with HIV. It's part of a big program that we're doing. We're developing it. There's more films. There's more stuff we're doing, and this is the sample. So please play the films and thank you.